It's July 2016 and we're spending a week touring the railways of Wales. On our return, we voted for our favourites, and here are the results. Our top 10 railways of Wales. Firstly, let's look at one that didn't make the top 10, on the grounds that it's a tramway rather than a railway. The Great Orme Tramway opened in 1902 and was built to transport goods and passengers up and down the Great Orme in Llandudno. Originally steam-hauled, it was converted to electric in 1957 and now carries 160,000 passengers a year. Now we're on to the top 10 proper. At number 10 is the Llangollen Railway. This is the only standard gauge heritage railway in North Wales, following the picturesque River Dee for 10 miles between Llangollen and Corwen. The old main line closed to passenger traffic in 1954 and to goods in 1968. The line was reopened in 1975 as a heritage railway with only 60 feet of track. It took another 21 years to extend the track to Corwen. The historic Chainbridge Hotel dates back to 1828 and has a unique position overlooking the magnificent Chain Bridge over the River Dee. At number 9, the Corris Railway.
How long is the line?
About 3/4 of a mile. It's about 10 minutes down there, have a look round this kitchen shed, the carriage shed, and the other
So he just pushes it back then, doesn't
Yeah, he pedals back uphill, yeah.
This locomotive, number 7, is not as old as she looks, entering service in 2005. It's a modern version of the Talyllyn's number 4, Edward Thomas. The Corris Railway was the first narrow gauge railway in mid Wales. Built originally in 1859 as a horse-hauled tram road, steam locomotives arrived in 1878 and passengers were carried until 1930. The railway closed in 1948 and was dismantled soon afterwards. Passenger services resumed in 2002, with regular steam-hauled services returning in 2005. There's no number 8 because we have a tie for 7th place. 7th equal is the Llanberis Lake Railway, a short narrow gauge line that runs for 2.5 miles along the shores of the Llanberis Lake. It opened in 1971 along the route of the now defunct line serving the local quarry. It was extended to Llanberis in 2003. Also at 7th equal is the Bala Lake Railway.
Would you have 2 working?
They all work.
Oh, all work?
Yeah. Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Like the Llanberis, it was built along the route of the former standard gauge railway. It opened in 1972 and was extended to its current length of 4.5 miles in 1976. Number 6 is the Snowdon Mountain Railway.
Don't break a leg.
The Snowdon Mountain Railway is a narrow-gauge rack and pinion mountain railway that travels for 4.7 miles from Llanberis to the summit of Snowdon, the highest peak in Wales. It opened in 1896. We were extremely fortunate to visit Snowdon on one of the few fine summer days, revealing stunning views of the Snowdonia National Park. No, we haven't missed our train back. We decided to walk back down. After all, on such a fine, clear day, what could possibly go wrong? Snowdon Mountain Railway is the only public rack and pinion railway in the United Kingdom, and after more than 100 years of operation it remains a popular tourist attraction, carrying more than 130,000 passengers every year. At number 5, the Welsh Highland Railway, formed in 1961 to preserve and rebuild the original Welsh Highland Railway, which had operated from 1922 to 1936. Construction of the line started in the 1970s and it opened for passengers in 1980. It runs from Carnarvon in the north to Porthmadog in the south, where it shares a station with the Ffestiniog. The workhorses of the line are 262 plus 262 Bayer Garretts, built for work in South Africa, and they are among the most powerful steam locomotives ever built for 2-foot gauge. 3 Garretts arrived in Wales in 1997, all from the same batch built by Bayer Peacock in 1958, and they were followed by 1 more in 2006. Fourth place goes to the Welsh Pool and Llanberis Railway, a narrow gauge line 8.5 miles long running westwards from the town of Welshpool to the village of Llanberis Canerion. It was opened in 1903 to aid economic development in a remote area, but it never made a profit. In 1931 the line lost its passenger service and it became a freight-only line until its inevitable closure in 1956. In 1963, the western half of the line was restored and reopened as a tourist railway. It was extended to Welshpool, and in 1981 a new terminus station opened at Raven Square. Because of the 2-foot 6-inch gauge, unusual for British narrow gauge railways, locomotives and rolling stock to supplement the originals have had to be obtained from sources around the world, including the famous Zillertalbahn in Austria. Things are tight at the top, with the Vale of Rheidol Railway coming in at number 3. The Vale of Rheidol Railway opened in 1902 and runs for 11 3/4 miles between Aberystwyth and Devil's Bridge. From 1968 until 1989, when it was the first part of British Rail to be privatised, it was the sole steam-operated line on the nationalised British Rail network. Unlike most other preserved railways in the United Kingdom, the Vale of Rheidol Railway has never closed and has operated a service for tourists throughout its life. The original purpose of the line was to carry timber for pit props and lead ore from the Rheidol Valley to the sea and the main line at Aberystwyth. Construction commenced in 1901, but by the time the railway opened in 1902, lead mining was already in steep decline. The line was moderately successful as a tourist railway, although there was limited traffic outside the tourist season, and in 1936 the line became a summer operation only. The railway became part of the western region of newly nationalised British Railways in 1948, and the line continued to operate as a tourist service. The line became the first part of British Rail to be privatised in 1989. Today, the railway continues to operate as a tourist railway, generally operating between Easter and the end of October. At number 2 is the Ffestiniog Railway. This railway is 13.5 miles long and runs from the slate mining town of Ffestiniog to the harbour at Porthmadog, where it shares facilities with the Welsh Highland Railway. The line was completed in 1836 to transport slate from the quarries around Ffestiniog to the harbour at Porthmadog. The railway was graded so that loaded wagons could be run by gravity downhill all the way from Ffestiniog to the port. The empty wagons were hauled back up by horses until steam locomotives were introduced in 1863. Steam engines also enabled the introduction of passenger trains in 1865, the first narrow gauge railway in Britain to carry passengers. In 1869, the line's first double fairly articulated locomotive was introduced, and these double-ended machines have since become one of the most widely recognised of the railway. By the 1920s, the demand for slate as a roofing material dropped, and as a result, the railway suffered a gradual decline in traffic. The line closed to passengers in 1939, and slate traffic ceased on most of the line in 1946. From 1949, various groups of rail enthusiasts attempted to revitalise the railway. The work of restoration began in 1954 and was completed in 1982. Today, the railway has become the second largest Welsh tourist attraction after Carnarvon Castle, carrying 200,000 passengers a year. Which means that by a whisker, the number 1 railway of Wales is the Llanberis Railway. Slate quarrying began in the hills above Tywyn in the 1830s, and in 1866 a 7.25 mile line was built to carry slate. Despite the closure of the quarry in 1946, the railway continued to run trains on a shoestring budget until it eventually closed in 1950. However, later the same year, it was proposed that a preservation society be formed to rescue the railway from closure. And in 1951, the newly formed Llanberis Railway Preservation Society took control. The railway reopened under the control of the Society for the first time on the Whit Bank Holiday 1951, becoming the first railway in the world to be preserved as a heritage railway by volunteers. There's one more place we can't ignore on a tour of the railway attractions of North Wales. But we can't put it in the top 10 for two reasons. Firstly, it's not really a railway, it's just a station. And secondly, there's no way I can pronounce Llanberis Pulgwyn Gylth Goger Ychwyn Dro Bullthlan Ffestiniog Railway.